0.3% of adults in the US are transgender. That's 1 in 300 people. And 3.5% of adults identify as lesbian, gay, or bisexual. That's 1 in 30 people. In February of 2011, 90% of transgender people faced discrimination at work and were unemployed at double the rate of the general population. Over half had been harassed or turned away when attempting to access public services. Members of the transgender community also encounter high levels of discrimination in healthcare on an everyday basis. On May 14, 2016, the U.S. Department of Justice stated public schools to allow transgender students to use bathrooms that match their gender identity. Discrimination may come from classmates that tease or physically harm transgender people, which result in transphobia. Incidents like that have created Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is respected and kept in memory of gender nonconformants that may have been killed through acts of prejudice.
Anything could happen, anything could happen, anything could happen, anything could
I first found out that I was transgender when I was in grade school, and my sister actually told me about it because I was expressing my feelings to her and be like, I don't exactly know how to. When she first told me about it, I was like, shit, this is something that other people are going through. I'm not just weird. I'm not like, these aren't feelings I should just toss aside. If other people are going through this, then it's normal for me to be going through it. Especially since in my family it's extremely common.
Really?
So it's kind of like a bud of a joke little thing with my family. Like they always joked about how I was going to be the next one that's going to be trans.
I know that.
So growing up, it didn't really affect my family life other than with my brother. Because he grew up with the idea that he's going to have a brother. And, that initially just made him pretty much disown me. Like, I told you about me coming out of the closet. When I came out of the closet, I literally came out of the closet because my brother, when he found out, he, beat me severely to the point where I was hiding in my closet for, the whole entire day. Until my mom came home and she was like, where the hell is Grizzle and all that jazz. And she literally, because I covered myself with everything in my closet and I just wanted to be left alone. And that's when I was fully outed to my family and all that jazz. So other than having to deal with, my brother resenting me and all that jazz, growing up was pretty normal just because it's so normal in my family to deal with that kind of thing. Schooling was a very difficult thing for me because it was never really brought to everyone's attention that I was like that. It was more so just whispers, sort of that kind of stuff. Faculty, they were all aware. Literally every single first day of school, I'd be like, so this is the situation. Either accept me or you don't. I would appreciate it if you don't call me by my first name and you use female pronouns and stuff like that. And most people were great about it, but others were not. Students were not, but I didn't give a shit about them. I didn't care about students.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not there to make friends, I'm there for my education. But, education for me, it was pretty damn solid. I literally have never had a problem growing up. And I've never felt discriminated against just because it was so normal for me. Of course I hear whispers and I hear people, saying all these things, but that didn't matter to me just because I knew their opinion didn't matter. Yeah. It's about how I feel and how I am, how strongly I am, with confidence and all that jazz. It's just how you perceive things and how you take it. It didn't faze me whatsoever, just because they're just filler in my life. They're just background noise. My teachers treated me differently, and I didn't really care about that. I just knew they just wanted to protect me. Growing up, I know my circumstance and my situation doesn't call for everyone and all my sisters and brothers in the trans community, because definitely other people have had it worse than me. which is why I'm so thankful that I grew up this way and that I was raised with this type of mentality that, you know, it's okay to be different, it's okay to feel the way you feel. Because I can only imagine, I've heard stories of my fellow sisters and brothers of how much turmoil they went through and how much hate and how much, you know, sadness came out their way because of their trans situation. Work related in my industry, it's the hair industry. I'm a hairstylist. It's extremely accepting community, so there's not much backlash. If I had normal 9-to-5 job, office job, and in a freaking cubicle, if a job required an HR, I feel like that I would have much of a harder time, just because there's just so much more politics with it. With hairdressers, we're all just a bunch of we see each other every single day. We're a big giant family. However, when I first came to the salon where I'm working at now, Alkali Salon, it was voice that, you know, that I am trans, this is how it's going to be, and if anyone, you know, says anything differently, they're going to get fired. So I definitely did have special treatment. I'm not necessarily I didn't ask for it, but I respect the fact that they kept me in mind. I am part of the community, the trans community in Santa Ana, Irvine, all that jazz. We do have meetings every Wednesday, all that jazz. And it really has made an impact on the way I view things, just because it reinforces the fact that everyone goes through everything differently. Just because I'm going through this whole transition pretty dang, you know, smooth, doesn't necessarily mean my fellow sister or brother is going to too. Like, hearing those girls and those guys, what they're going through is so much more difficult than what I've been put through. You know, they have a lot more religious families, a lot more opinionated families, you know, for it,
But
the whole target thing. But the thing is, before all that, what makes you think that we didn't go into those bathrooms beforehand?
Exactly.
You know, it's just because now that you're aware that, oh, there are trans people among us, just because people now are aware of it makes everything a lot more difficult. Because it's in the butt of everything. It's right in front of you, screaming, oh, there's trans people around, you know, and a lot of people are not okay with that. But the thing is, would it be as important to you if you weren't aware? If you weren't that, you know, openly, like, aware of it? Because what did people do back then when this wasn't an issue? I've been to so many restrooms. Everyone likes to boycott. Everyone likes to have their opinion heard. It's just natural for people to voice that. And now that this thing is public, more and more people feel like it's okay to voice it because other people are voicing it. You know? So, to me, I honestly don't care. I'm going to use the restroom either way. If you want me to use the freaking men's restroom, I'm going to use the freaking men's restroom. You know, I don't care. I just need to pee. Like, what was that organization that actually actively sent in people just to purposely, you know, test people out, like how would they react and stuff. It's not necessarily actual trans people are doing it. It's these, you know, freaking ignorant people are doing it, you know. So it's not necessarily that we just want somewhere to freaking feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know,
no, exactly.
It's not necessarily we're a bunch of pervs. Most sexual assaults, most, you know, all those public things, I don't know, it's unlawful, like, you know. I've never heard of a trans person committing any of those crimes in restrooms. It's always been cisgender, straight people, you know?
Yeah.
And if they want to persecute trans women, trans men for using a restroom that they want to feel comfortable in, rather than punish, you know, rapists and punish, you know, all those people, then what's the point? To me, it's all just a distraction because there's a whole lot of other stuff going on in the world right now, and people just want a nice distraction.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, this has been going on for how long? Trans people have been using the restroom for how long? You know how many times I've heard in the news about trans people, you know, Trans Remembrance Day. It's strictly on how many trans women and men have been murdered, you know, for just being trans. Like, it's a scary world out there. Which is why whenever I go out, back when I was younger, I was always scared. I covered my face all the time. I didn't want to talk to people. I had social anxiety. Like, I just didn't want to talk to people just because I had the fear that they're not going to accept me and they want to fucking kill the shit out of me. You know, they wanted to hurt me. And most people, I've been in situations where I've been choked out before. Like, I went on a date and the guy wasn't, I was pretty clear about it, that I'm trans. He still felt the need that he wanted to hurt me, wanted to be comfortable in my own skin. And I can't exactly do that or feel comfortable if I feel like everyone's out to get me. Just because I just want to live my life.
Yeah.
You know? Now I'm like the least caring person out there. Like, I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. Yeah, I'm gonna be me.